5 days pay, 4 days work. A 4-day work week.
4-day work week. Sounds amazing, right?
Shorter work week, same pay.
More than 180 companies and thousands of employees around the globe have joined a 6-month pilot program to see how a 4-day work week could function for their businesses. And so far, the experience has been
positive.
Chaotic. We didn't know what we were doing. We were all over the shop.
It sounds like an idea fresh out of the pandemic, a Silicon Valley dream, right? Not quite. The reality is that the desire for a shorter work week goes back a long time, a really long time.
In the 1970s, it was fairly popular and people were talking about the crisis of leisure, and then it faded from view for a long time.
I guess the tide has gone out and we've seen just how strapped we all were with our work lives and home lives and lack of balance there.
The pandemic turbocharged the 4-day week because employers started, having to figure out some solutions to the stress and burnout. But the other thing is remote work, because one of the things that we hear from management is that remote work taught management it could trust its employees.
Okay, so let's talk about the basic parameters then of the 4-day week global pilot program.
The requirements are no reduction in pay, so all employees are still getting their 5 days pay, and there must be a meaningful reduction in work time. So the vast majority are going to a 4-day, 32-hour week. You've got to figure out how to do it so that you can maintain your productivity and your output and so forth.
We are a communications agency, so we look after brands, strategy, and all the ways in which a brand might communicate with its audience. The pandemic for us was really, really challenging. It was hard. Everyone was getting super burnt out. We were just sort of relentlessly working, tied to our computers just constantly. The team were pretty excited about the whole thing. But definitely to kind of get the powers that be to think that it was a good idea was really quite difficult. There's just very conventional thinking on this topic, which has been really interesting to try and navigate.
Why did you guys decide to try this?
There was enough evidence out there that suggested that companies, particularly like Kickstarter, can successfully transition to a 4-day work week while maintaining or improving productivity. But we were also looking at the way that work was changing given the pandemic. We moved to fully remote, and we just saw people that were burnt out and tired, and retaining our employees, making it easier to hire employees, and making sure our employees were happy at home is really why we decided to pursue it.
The first 6 weeks navigating those was really, really hard. After that first weekend of us doing 4 days and then, having either the Friday or the Monday off, I thought, what have I done? I'm going to ruin this business without even trying.
But now fast forward, you've had the mindset shift, you figured out the handovers.
Yep.
People came in, the workers were fighting for it to keep the 4-day work week. And how are you now?
We're doing amazing now. By the time we had kind of gotten into that 4th month, it really started to go together. And one of the big benefits we've seen is just the perspective and almost kind of freshness that people bring to work with them because of those 4 days, and that 5th day really giving them time to do stuff they want to do.
Some of what we hear anecdotally from workers suggests that they don't waste much time anymore. They communicate in much faster ways and so forth.
What you're telling me is in 4 days, they're more productive.
Yes. So there are 2 parts to this. Reducing meetings, changing communication styles and so forth that save a lot of time, or really getting the benefits out of new software and other kinds of technology. But the other thing about this is that for a very long period of time, since the 19th century, if you look at trends in productivity, what you see is that when people work fewer hours, they have higher hourly productivity. And we're seeing that in our trials as well.
And while many companies have not yet completed the 6-month pilot program, when asked whether they'll stick with it,
I would become Marie Antoinette in this building if I didn't keep it. The productivity is up, not down, from 4 days versus 5. How can I possibly argue to this building of intelligent human beings that I want to put them back on 5 days?
We haven't made a final decision yet, so we haven't decided exactly how we're going to move forward with it, but we will be moving forward with it. The 5-day, 40-hour work week feels like this immutable law that was handed down by God at some point, but we invented it about 100 years ago. We just haven't updated it.